Let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah. I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey, yeah. Ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back, everybody. Jaysin Static with another episode of the interview series. I'm back with Bax for the fourth and final episode of the Morning Star series.
Story of Bax.
Shoot interview series with Bax. Are you ready to go for this next question, Bax?
Dude, stayed ready in the first three, still here.
Can you pinpoint the exact moment you knew you wanted to become a professional wrestler?
Oh, this is a fun one. So this is going to be a little personal.
Okay. I'm ready.
It's 13-year-old Bax, my
Okay.
13th birthday. My mom gave me $50. I go into the store. And a lot of guys, and I know for a fact this is the same ignition moment for a lot of them. I walk in, I needed a new video game, and I was like, well, I've got all the Dragon Ball Z games. It's the only thing I like.
Right.
What am I going to do now? I want something cool, something fun, something violent, and also maybe even sporty. Grand Theft Auto's not going to work at this point. So I picked up WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2007.
Okay.
It was a few months before 2008 dropped. I played the game nonstop after I started it. And in that moment, I said, okay, I know who my guy is. It's John freaking Cena, man. John Cena. The GOAT. He quite literally, and we're going to get into this, saved my life. So I picked up on Monday Night Raw later on that month. My birthday is in September. That same year, 2007. The very first episode I see, I waited all night to see John Cena get on there, just to see John Cena tear his pectoralis major.
Oh,
dude, I was crushed.
Cool.
Now I stayed on the business. I stayed watching Monday Night Raw, and then I eventually got SmackDown in the mix too. And I saw Shawn Michaels come in. I saw Jeff Hardy and Jericho and all these other guys come in and really handle Randy and butter him up to be this big bad guy.
Right.
And then I don't know what it was, man. In 2008, Royal Rumble comes around, and nobody knows anything about John Cena coming back. Nobody has any idea. He's not supposed to be back for another 8 months. I told my mom, hey, Mom, I want to order this pay-per-view. We didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
But she ordered it for me anyway. And, dude, the emotion I felt. Every time I watch that video, the emotion I felt when I heard the music hit, I watched him walk out with his arms crossed. You see him come up with that smirk. And you can feel it. Oh, my God, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It was the kickstart of what ended up becoming, what I am today. Now, we fast forward a few months later. In that same month of September, actually, my dad had a stroke.
Okay.
And that was not an uncommon thing. He had a lot of health issues in my childhood.
Right.
10 months after that stroke, he gets cleared. That same day that he's cleared, he comes home. We had an argument the night before, and my dad actually dropped dead right in front of me.
Oh, wow.
It was a very tough time. There was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration with myself, with the world, with everybody.
Right.
And the only thing that kept me going was that I had Super John Cena to keep me
Never give up, baby.
inspired. Oh, I mean, it's tattooed on my arm, actually.
Yeah.
That moment, that era of wrestling, John Cena doing what he did literally saved my life. And I know a lot of people can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Watching your hero fall in front of you is a very tough thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But to have this real life superhero on your TV every week telling you, don't give up, keep going. And he's quite literally, he's the king of perseverance. He says it's LA now.
Absolutely.
He's the king of perseverance. He persevered through everything. I mean, he didn't win at WrestleMania. He never got that title back. Then he gets injured that same year again. Again, hurts my freaking heart, man. But there was something about him that always drew me to the business. Now, while we're talking about that, I fell out of love with wrestling at one point.
Mm-hmm.
It was during probably the roughest of a few years back in the 2010s. I would say it was maybe a year or two after him and Rock headlined WrestleMania the second time. Everything was dry. Everything was very uncreative. Everything was just repetitive and boring. And I was a grown up and I stopped watching wrestling. And then we talk about the second guy who saved me. The guy who I will thank one day for my career, Cody Rhodes, comes back.
Okay.
WrestleMania 39. I remember watching Cody Rhodes debut the same night I watched John Cena, I think.
Yeah.
Debut. And I remember watching him, and I didn't know where he went one day. I just remember him coming back, and I looked into the story of where he had been this whole time, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is incredible.
There's a whole other world outside of WWE.
Whole other world. Like, you just think that's the only wrestling that exists.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, they just wake up one day, decide to be a wrestler, and they're contracted with WWE. No, there's a whole circuit. I'm running it right now. And you see that Cody he left behind a massive paycheck and a business that was never going to let him go. He let it go, and he found the American Nightmare. And then he comes back, he brings it to WWE, and pro wrestling has never been hotter because of a guy like him stepping back into that ring.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely 100% agree. You know, that's one of the things there's a lot of things in wrestling that I feel the wrestling fans get kind of jaded on, and I think they're too jaded in their tribalism of like this or that or this and that.
They don't want to be surprised anymore. It's weird.
There's so much in wrestling, whether it's New Japan, TNA, AAA down in Mexico with Conan, and CMLL, and over in Europe, and hell, there's even wrestling over in China now. There's a couple of Scotland, Mexico, you know, all down through Argentina, Brazil, and there's so much wrestling. You can't physically watch everything, but there's so much good shit. And I love wrestling. I love all styles of wrestling. I love the hardcore style of wrestling. I love the deathmatch style of wrestling. I love the lucha libre style of wrestling. I love the big guy, big meaty men slapping meat wrestling. I love the luchadors. You know, like I love
sumo and midget wrestling too, don't you? I believe
there's midget wrestling company. There's 3 or 4 midget wrestlers. Hey, those midget wrestlers get down, boy. They get down.
But I can't reach them, so I'm not wrestling them.
But back on the John Cena tip. John Cena, how do you feel about, since you said John Cena was your hero, how do you feel about your hero hanging it up the same year that you come into the business?
You know, it's bittersweet. I will never, and I mean, there's a huge age gap with me and John Cena. It's a shame I'll never be able to witness him, but one day I'm going to shake that man's hand. I'm going to tell him exactly what he did for my life. I'm about to enjoy the very exciting, and I know it's going to be good, final run of John Cena.
Yeah.
It's incredible that I came in and got to watch him blossom into the best years of his career. It's a shame that we have to say goodbye to him.
I agree.
But you can't do this forever.
I think people are going to miss. I think people are going to miss him. A lot of people talk a lot of shit about John Cena, but John Cena is one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT of pro wrestling.
He mastered every aspect of this business. He may not have been like the most pristine wrestler. I'm not going to act like he is. But he mastered every aspect of this business. And the one thing he did to me that he did to everybody else is he brought some level of emotion, whether it was hate, whether it was annoyance, whether it was love, whether it was inspiration. He brought something out of you. He made my childhood. He made a lot of the guys I know's childhood. And I think we can all agree that this is going to be a very emotional year for us watching John Cena go.
I agree 100%. But we also have the next guy, and he's still alive and well, and he's going to be kicking for a long time, hopefully, Cody Rhodes.
It's funny. I used to have the same attachment that I had to John Cena. And you know how everybody says they want John Cena to go heel? I was never on board with that. And when I remember I cried my eyes out watching Cody finish the story because I did watch Cody grow up. I did. I know what that meant. And now that I'm in the business, I understand it even more. But I remember watching him win that title. I remember watching him not win it the year before. It freaking pissed me off. But watching him win it, man, tears were rolling down my face. And no, guys, I don't normally cry, but I had to cry in that moment. If you don't cry, you're not a real man. That was tough, but I'm excited for what's going to come next. And I hope that we see Cody go full Homelander. I really do.
That might be cool.
It's going to be so cool. And if it doesn't happen, I will riot.
One more thing before we wrap this up. And it's a Cody Rhodes question, since we're talking about Cody Rhodes here. Did you like the Stardust gimmick?
No. Oh my God. Nobody likes Stardust. Even he hated Stardust. It was, that's the era that I stopped watching wrestling. That gimmick was too out there. Like, it was one thing when it was just Goldust, but when you start bringing the whole family into it, it dilutes that gimmick. It dilutes that whole idea. I don't think that was the fit for him. I think that was, hey, we don't have the spot for you that you want.
Mhm.
Here's something that's fresh and new outside of the mustache and the dashing and the son of the dream. Like, here's something for you that can keep you on board with us. I don't agree with that decision. If he ever picks that gimmick back up, oh my God, I'm turning my TV off.
I might have to upset you here, but I'm probably one of the only people in the entire universe in the entire universe that actually liked that gimmick, and I'll tell you why. Do I think it was goofy and over the top? Absolutely. But the reason I liked it is because he got that gimmick. It was one of those gimmicks where it was just like, it's kind of a dead in the water gimmick.
Yeah.
Not everybody could pull that off.
And he did.
And he killed it. The promos were always phenomenal. Even though they were out there, they were phenomenal. And it made you believe he was a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. And I will say this. I can appreciate it now because you see that as the trial that it was. You saw that as a challenge, and he took it seriously. He admits it in his documentary. He took it, he ran with it, he did it better than anyone else could have ever done. I think he did Stardust better than his brother did Goldust.
And I think that's one of the things, and that's why I have appreciation for it, and that's why I love it, is because he was handed a shit sandwich.
And he turned it into freaking gold.
And he turned it into fucking gold. It was
more stars.
It was a great gimmick. I don't care what anybody says, but we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
We're going to end it on that, whether you want to agree with me or not. Plug your stuff, social medias, anything like that.
Just look up Bax. I'm going to be everywhere.
Jaysin Static on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check me out. Fight Club Wrestling Academy, YouTube. Tell me how you like Bax. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if you agree with the Stardust thing that I said. Tell me if you agree with the John Cena thing. Are you going to be sad that John Cena is leaving us? And last but not least, the merch. I'm plugging some merch, but I can't tell you the name or where I'm going to drop it. But it's pro wrestling related, and it's for the culture of pro wrestling. Bax, brother, I hope to see you again. I've got more questions for you.